Hello dear students. In last part of our video, we have seen the trends in d block elements atomic radii. Today we are going to discuss how density varies in d block elements. Density of d block elements is more than s block elements. Reason: increase in atomic mass. So because of increase in atomic mass, overall we can say the density of d block is more than density of s block elements. Now I want to focus on specially 3D series. So let us compare the density of 3D series. Now when I talk about the density of 3D series, there is a trend that from group 3 to group 11, that is from scandium to copper, density increases. But as soon as we come to group 12, the density decreases. That means the density of zinc will be less than density of copper. Now why there is a variation? This is an exception. In today's video, we are going to study so many concepts. On every concept, a question can be framed. So today's video is going to be proved more important than other videos, because there are many give reason questions which are formed from trends in d block elements. Okay, coming to the point, density of zinc is greater than density of copper. This is an exception. We have to remember this. Now why? Because the atomic mass of zinc is more than atomic mass of copper, as well as atomic radii of zinc is more than atomic radii of copper. This we have seen due to electron-electron pair repulsion due to fully filled d orbital in zinc, the atomic radii or size of zinc is greater than that of copper. So what happens? The volume increases. Volume increases, therefore density decreases. This is an important concept. Okay, so I will say all the group 12 elements such as zinc, cadmium and mercury, they will have low density. Zinc and cadmium, they are considered as soft metals, and we know mercury is the only metal to exist in the liquid state. So give reason question can be framed why zinc and cadmium are considered as soft metal. We must know that they have low density. And why low density? Because of the increase in size. So this is the summary of the density. That density of d block elements is greater than that of s block elements. Down the group density decreases. Osmium and iridium have highest density in periodic table. This I have already told you in my last video, and that's an important point. And density of group 12 elements is less due to more volume. So the next thing that we are going to discuss is ionization energy. Lots and lots of questions can be framed from this trend. What do we know about ionization energy? It is the energy required to remove the outermost electron from isolated gaseous atom. And we know it is inversely proportional to atomic size. Now if I compare the ionization enthalpy of s block elements, d block elements and p block elements, then experimental data shows that the ionization enthalpy of d block elements is higher than s block elements, especially if I talk about first ionization enthalpy, but it is less than that of p block elements. Now there is a reason behind this. Now we know in transition elements, what do they show? The electrons are added in n-1 d subshell. Electrons are added in penultimate shell. As the number of electron increases in d subshell, screening effect also increases or shielding effect also increases. So what happens? Due to increased screening effect, nucleus can hold the outermost electron very tightly, and therefore it becomes difficult to remove the electron from outermost orbit. But the trend that as we move from left to right, we know that first ionization enthalpy decreases, but in case of transition elements, this is very slow. The decrease is very slow. Now we have to study many examples in D block elements, their first IP, their second IP, their third IP, and so on. Each and every example will be a question for you people. Whenever you are solving the questions of ionization energy, we have to remember that if the element achieves vacant D, half filled D, or fully filled D, then in that case the ionization enthalpy will be comparatively less, because in these three cases stability will be achieved by elements. So let us begin with the first example, chromium and copper. What are their configurations? We have seen that they have exceptional configurations, 3d5, 4s1, and this is 3d10, 4s2, and therefore their first ionization enthalpy is comparatively low as compared to second IP. Why? Because as soon as they lose one electron, chromium in +1 state and copper in +1 state will show 3d5 configuration, 3d10 configuration, giving half filled D and fully filled D. So what will happen? Removal of the second electron becomes difficult. And therefore, we'll say second ionization enthalpy of chromium as well as copper is exceptionally high. Got it? Moving on to the next example, group 12 elements. Zinc, cadmium and mercury. What is the special thing in these elements? They have stable configuration 3d10, 4s2, 4d10, 5s2 and 5d10, 6s2, and therefore all these elements, their first ionization enthalpy is high. But obviously their second ionization enthalpy will be comparatively low. Now second ionization enthalpy, why it will be comparatively low? Because when it loses one electron, like zinc in +1 state, when it loses one electron, it is 3d10, 4s1, and this will compare for its IE1. Now only the loss of one electron will give him stable 3d configuration. So zinc in +2, 3d10, and therefore second ionization enthalpy will be low as it gives a stable fully filled configuration. Now let us compare the ionization enthalpies of zinc and copper. First ionization enthalpy of copper and first ionization enthalpy of zinc. So copper with the configuration 3d10, 4s1, and zinc with configuration 3d10 and 4s2. When it loses first electron, IE1, so it becomes 3d10. Okay, so it is comparatively low because only the loss of one electron will give him stable configuration. Now if I want to remove one more electron from this stable configuration, it becomes difficult and it will achieve 3d9 configuration. Second ionization enthalpy will be high. Now we'll consider for zinc. Zinc with configuration 3d10, 4s2, first ionization enthalpy will be high. Why? Because already there is a stable configuration. And therefore first ionization enthalpy will be high. It will achieve configuration 3d10 4s1 after loss of one electron. Now if I want to remove one more electron from this, second ionization enthalpy will be low as it gives a 3d10 stable configuration. So now pay attention to first ionization enthalpy of copper, first ionization enthalpy of zinc, second ionization enthalpy of copper and second ionization enthalpy of zinc. What the trend we have seen, that first ionization enthalpy of copper will be less than that of zinc, but second ionization enthalpy of copper will be less than second ionization enthalpy of zinc. You have to remember this. Very, very important, I will say. Many give reason questions are framed for this. For either 1 or 2 marks. Let us discuss the next example. The same way, first ionization enthalpy of chromium will be less than first ionization enthalpy of manganese because of the stable configuration. Now as soon as it loses one electron, it will achieve 3d5 configuration and it will achieve 3d5 4s1 configuration. Therefore the loss of second electron becomes easier for manganese, and I will say second ionization enthalpy of chromium will be higher than second ionization enthalpy of manganese because there will be only loss of one electron and chromium will have already 3d5 stable configuration. In the next example, I have considered elements like manganese and zinc with configuration 3d5 4s2 and 3d10 4s2 respectively. Now from this configuration itself we can predict that their third ionization enthalpy will be very high. Why? Because manganese in +2 will achieve 3d5 configuration, zinc in +2 will achieve 3d10 configuration. Both are these stable configurations. And therefore removal of third electron from these will be difficult, and therefore third ionization enthalpy will be high. On the same note, I can say in case of iron with the configuration 3d6 4s2, IE3 will be comparatively low because iron in +3 will achieve 3d5 configuration, that is a stable half-filled d orbital configuration, and therefore third ionization enthalpy of iron will be comparatively low. When we move to third transition series, it will show again some different trend. In third transition series, the first ionization enthalpies are higher than first and second transition series. In the last video, we have seen the second and third transition series elements. They are near about same atomic radii. There I have told you the concept of D contraction or lanthanoid contraction, about which we will be studying in detail in F block elements. But that is applicable here. Now what happens in third transition series elements? In third transition series, the electrons are added in 4f orbital. And there what happens? 4f orbitals being larger in size, they show very poor screening effect. Since the screening effect is very poor, the effective nuclear charge experienced by the outermost electrons is very high. The nucleus will hold the electrons tightly and therefore they will show high ionization enthalpies. Our next example gives us answer why nickel forms complex compounds in always in +2 oxidation state and why platinum forms coordination compounds in +4 oxidation state. Let us have a look at the values. First IP and second IP summation 2.49 into 10 to power 3 kilojoule per mole of nickel, and for platinum it is 2.66 into 10 to power 3 kilojoule per mole. You need not to learn these values. So as the data indicates, summation of first two IPs for nickel is less than that of platinum. So I will say thermodynamically nickel plus 2 is stable as compared to platinum plus 2 because of low summation of IE1 and IE2. On the other hand, if I look of summation on addition of IE3 and IE4, that is third and fourth ionization enthalpy, for nickel it is comparatively very high and platinum it is very less. So when it comes to platinum, platinum plus 4 becomes more stable as compared to nickel plus 4 because of low IE3 and IE4. Again, this is your important give reason question. And therefore, we say in coordination complexes that all the complexes of nickel generally they show plus 2 oxidation state, and all complexes of platinum generally they show plus 4 oxidation state. Actually, coordination compounds and D block elements, these are much related because D block elements shows the formation of complex compounds. Therefore, if you know D block elements, you can study coordination compounds very well. The next trend that we are going to discuss is oxidation states. Again, from oxidation state, variety of questions are asked because the transition element shows variable oxidation state. Now we know transition elements, their general electronic configuration is n-1d ns. Okay, n-1d 1 to 10, ns 1 to 2. Now the energy gap between these two is very less, and therefore both can be used for bond development. As a result, transition element shows variety of oxidation state. Again, this is your important give reason question. Now here also when you have to when you have to read these oxidation state topic, simply remember that in which oxidation state the element will achieve either vacant, half filled or fully filled orbital. In that case, that oxidation state will be stable one. I have taken the example of 3D series, okay, from scandium to copper. Now as I told you that transition element shows variable oxidation states, and this is the reason why this one transition elements are used as catalyst. Let us begin. Scandium shows only one oxidation state, that is +3. Now this is an exception. Scandium is the only element to show +3 oxidation state. Others will show variety of oxidation state, like titanium will show +2, +3, but its stable configuration will be, or stable oxidation state will be +4. Similarly, vanadium can show +2, +3, but its stable will be +5. Now how I am deciding is, all these elements have a look at their general configuration. Scandium, as soon as it loses these 3, it will get argon noble gas configuration. Titanium, as soon as it loses these 2, will get argon stable configuration. Generally, I will say all the transition series +2 is the common oxidation state. because of loss of 4s electrons. So generally plus 2 oxidation state will be shown by every element with some exceptions. Okay, moving on to chromium. Chromium will show plus 1 because of loss of 4s1. Then plus 3. Its plus 3 will be a stable configuration. Plus 4 and plus 5. Plus 6 will be the stable configuration, or I will say stable oxidation state for chromium. Similarly for manganese. Manganese shows oxidation state from plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 6 and plus 7. Remember, manganese shows maximum number of oxidation states. Variety of oxidation states or variability is maximum in case of manganese. Reason? Because of 3d5 4s2 configuration. That is because of presence of maximum unpaired electron. Again, this will be important point and this will be important point. Okay, moving on to iron. Iron shows plus 2, plus 3, plus 4 as well as plus 6 configuration. But its stable is plus 3 due to 3d5 configuration. Cobalt shows plus 2, plus 3. Again due to stable 3d5 configuration, plus 4 and plus 6. And therefore in coordination compounds, in my videos of coordination compounds, I have told you that cobalt will always form the complexes in plus 3 state. Chromium will always form the complexes in plus 3 state because of stable configurations. Okay, moving on to nickel. Nickel's stable configuration, stable oxidation state is plus 2. Just now we have seen because of low IE1 and IE2, nickel shows plus 2 oxidation state. But it shows more oxidation states like plus 3 and plus 4 also. For copper, the stable oxidation state is plus 1. It can also show plus 2 oxidation state. And zinc shows only plus 2 oxidation state, although it can show plus 1 also, but zinc cannot go above plus 2. Remember, zinc cannot go above plus 2. Reason? Because zinc will achieve 3d10 configuration. So just now we have seen that transition element shows variable oxidation state, variety of oxidation state due to incomplete d orbital. But the interesting thing to know that highest oxidation state, like for manganese it is plus 7, for chromium it is plus 6. Highest oxidation state will be exhibited in fluorides and oxides only. Why? Because of high electronegativity. Of oxygen and fluorine, they can oxidize element to their highest oxidation state. Now if I compare oxygen and fluorine, then highest oxidation state is not exhibited in fluorine but in case of oxide. So when we compare oxygen and fluorine, the highest oxidation state will be exhibited in oxoanions. That means highest oxidation state will be exhibited in oxide. Reason? Oxygen can form multiple bond. Oxygen can form double bond. It can form p-pi bond, and therefore highest oxidation state can be exhibited in oxides. Fluorine on the other hand cannot form multiple bonds, and therefore fluorine will not be able to oxidize element to highest oxidation state. Like let us consider the example of MnO4O minus. In this, manganese is in +7 oxidation state. Now if I will consider manganese in +7 oxidation state and its compound with fluorine, like I will consider MnF7. So it will show the structure like this. This is sterically unstable. As well as, suppose I want to make a compound like manganese. Fluorine I will make, and let's say I want to make double bond with fluorine. It is not possible because fluorine cannot form the multiple bonds. As well as fluorine being a small sized will become a sterically hindered, and therefore highest oxidation state will be exhibited in oxides when we are comparing in oxygen and fluorides. Most frequently asked topic, that is the nature, whether it is covalent or basic, whether it is covalent or ionic, whether it is acidic or basic. So remember this rule, that if the compound or the element is in its highest oxidation state, it will be covalent in nature, acidic. If it is in lowest oxidation state, it will be ionic in nature, it will be basic. I will tell you trick to remember. BIL. So Bil. Lowest oxidation state, ionic, basic in nature. ACH. If compound is in highest oxidation state, it will be covalent and it will be acidic in nature. If you remember this trick, you will be able to solve the answer. Okay, what is the reason behind this? The explanation lies in the basic concepts that you have studied in class 11. As charge on the cation increases, size decreases, polarizing power of cation increases, and this is the rule that we have studied, Fajan's rule. Okay, and therefore covalent character will increase. Let us have one example, manganese oxide and Mn2O7. Now in case of manganese oxide, the oxidation state of manganese is +2, and that in that case of Mn2O7, the oxidation state of manganese is +7. So manganese is in lowest oxidation state in MnO, therefore it will be ionic in nature, it will show basic character. Whereas in case of Mn2O7, it is in its highest oxidation state, it is covalent in nature, and it will be acidic. So based on the concepts of oxidation state and ionization potential, we have lots and lots of questions. Let us try to solve some here. So the first question, why manganese oxide is ionic and why Mn2O7 is covalent in nature. So that thing I have already explained over here. The next question involves the application of a single concept, but the question is asked in a different way. For both the questions, I can write the answer that oxygen can form multiple bond, but fluorine cannot. And therefore, highest oxidation state is shown with oxides, or I will say oxoanions. Like in case of manganese, oxygen can form double bond and therefore it can oxidize manganese to highest oxidation state. As well as in case of MnF7, it will become sterically unstable compound. And therefore, MnF7 is not a known compound, but Mn2O7 exists. In manganese, Mn2O7, manganese will show +7 oxidation state, which is its highest oxidation state. So this is our next question. I hope you must have guessed the answer, that why nickel +2 is more stable than platinum +2. It is because the sum of first and second ionization enthalpy of nickel is less than sum of first ionization enthalpy of platinum. and therefore the loss of 2 electrons becomes much more easy for nickel. So dear students, today we have completed 3 trends: density, ionization potential and oxidation state. Go through the video carefully again and again, because many give reason questions are framed from this part. So based on this video, try to solve the given module. Based on today's explanation, here is some homework assignment for you people. Try to solve these questions on your own. You will get these answers in the video. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.